I don't care how complicated games get, because I will always love the simple fun of side-scrolling beat-em-ups. If you were a brawler fan who grew up in the 1990s, then you most likely remember the rivalry between Capcom's Final Fight and Sega's Streets of Rage. Which is better? Obviously, we all have an answer to that question. But I wanted to see what Electronic Gaming Monthly's review crew said about all of these different games back in the day. Now, in case you're wondering, Electronic Gaming Monthly reviewed 6 Final Fight games and 3 Streets of Rage games between 1989 and 2009. This includes most of the sequels, a couple of ports, some portable versions, and a spin-off or two. Unfortunately, it does not include either Final Fight 2 or Streets of Rage 2. I don't know if EGM was too busy reviewing one-on-one fighting games or simply didn't have the time. They completely missed out on both of these high-profile sequels. Thankfully, there are more than enough other great games to create a fun and controversial list. What we're going to do today is count down the best and worst Final Fight and Streets of Rage games using Electronic Gaming Monthly's own words and scores. There's no editorializing here, we're just going to focus on what the critics said back when these games first came out. So go and grab your favorite blunt object and pull that fully cooked turkey out of the garbage can, because this is Electronic Gaming Monthly's Top 9 Final Fight and Streets of Rage games.
Capcom.
Up first at number 9 is Final Fight 3 on the Super Nintendo. The Final Fight series is getting old quickly. There are a lot of good qualities about Final Fight 3 that should be noted. The graphics are above average, the sound is okay, and the new super moves are a nice addition to the game. Also, the ability to have the computer join you as a second player is a very unique idea for a side-scrolling fighting game. The only problem is that the whole Final Fight series is getting a little too old to pump my adrenaline anymore. Please, don't tell me that we might be in for Final Fight 3 Turbo Edition. Number 8, Final Fight Streetwise on PlayStation 2 and Xbox. You might not be able to tell from its humdrum grittiness and blatant Fight Club plagiarism, but Streetwise keeps things weird and whimsical. I thought I was in for another boring urban underbelly odyssey when, 10 minutes in, I was asked to literally stomp out a cockroach infestation at a local diner. The game swings manically between reality and absurdity, from brutally stabbing some punk with a knife to picking up a goofy hot dog power-up. I was constantly reminded of the lovable old-school brawler River City Ransom, which is not to say that Streetwise is a great game. It's just that the technical issues and unambitious design come with a chaser of charming silliness. Number 7, Final Fight CD on the Sega CD. The best conversion of Final Fight so far. The graphics are very good and the system handles the action very well, even in the 2-player mode. There's a little bit of flicker at times though. The game follows the arcade and all the action is there. Good control and solid fighting action will help the Sega CD look more inviting. Number 6, Mighty Final Fight on the Nintendo Entertainment System. This is a neat parody of Final Fight. The graphics are good for the NES, and all the moves from the other version are here. They managed to keep all the characters, but it's only a 1-player game. For 8-bit, it's an excellent job and a good spoof. Even if you're not a fan of Final Fight, you'll still enjoy the cartoon-like look and feel. Number 5, Final Fight 1 on Game Boy Advance. When I crammed this card into my Game Boy Advance, I thought to myself, well, this should be fun for about 2 minutes. You see, I've played Final Fight to death years back, and I was sure that I've outgrown it and moved on to more sophisticated forms of entertainment. 2 hours later, and I'm still playing the damn thing. It feels good knowing that something so basic and mindless can still be fun today. I wish this were a better upgrade or a new sequel, but what's in the cart is still pretty cool as is. Final Fight 1 is repetitive, primitive, and even a bit tedious, and I dug every minute of it. Number 4, Streets of Rage 3 on the Genesis. Streets of Rage 3 offers new fighters, more moves, and better levels from the previous episodes. Does that make it a better game? Sure, but not without some compromises. The music, although done by Yuzo Koshiro, is really bad. What happened, Yuzo? The levels are really huge and offer tons of thugs to beat up over and over again. It's good, but in the end, it's strictly another walk and fight game. The concept is starting to get overused and repetitive. Number 3, Final Fight on the Super Nintendo. I'm disappointed. When I first turned Final Fight on, I thought cool is the best. Then I found out that Guy, my favorite character in the arcade, was missing. The final nail in the casket was the lack of 2-player simultaneous play. Bad move. Otherwise, the gameplay and graphics are excellent. Number 2, Streets of Rage 2 on the GameGear. This will change your perception of fighting games made for the portable systems. Streets of Rage 2 has everything, great sounds, and easily executed moves, all the while staying fairly close to the 16-bit version. The absence of Max is unfortunate, but the brawling skills of Axel, Sammy, and Blaze make up for it with a bang. And finally, at number 1, Streets of Rage on the Genesis. This is the type of fighting game that I've been waiting for since Fighting Street. 2 players, 40 attacks, 8 levels, large bosses, and music that rivals Sonic the Hedgehog. Streets of Rage is the best fighting game around. Let's see how Street Fighter 2 turns out.
Young Bobby Engels has a problem. He needs to earn the respect of his peers. So he gets the special Sega Genesis fighting system. It comes with Streets of Rage 2. He saves $40. He gets more moves. He gets more control. Now things are pretty much okay.
I said chocolate chip. Say it. Say it.
Hey, thanks for watching me look back at these classic reviews. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we have a whole playlist full of EGM Ranks episodes. They look at Sonic the Hedgehog, Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Armored Core, Castlevania, James Bond, and so many more franchises and consoles. Personally, I recommend checking out the whole playlist. Now here's the question I have for you. Which was better, Final Fight or Streets of Rage? And what was your favorite game from that series? Oh boy, I have a hunch we're going to be seeing a lot of Streets of Rage 2 comments. But who knows, maybe the tide has finally turned on Final Fight 3. Let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back later this week with more reviews, and I'm also going to be taking a look back at GamePro before they implemented the scoring system. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.